Hi, welcome to live stream Yoga with Louise, tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. Today's practice is all about moving with vigor, with power, with strength. As always, play where you're comfortable, modify when you need to, rest when you need to. You ready? Let's hit the mat. We're going to start today's practice with a few rounds of sun salutation. We'll play with the A series today. Set yourself up towards the top end of the mat with enough room to lunge, step back. Find a comfortable parallel stance with your legs, maybe a comfortable samasthiti with your feet stacking underneath your hips, all 10 toes looking to the front of the mat. Find a nice tall stance, tuck your tailbone under, pull your belly button in, and bring your hands to prayer mudra in front of your heart. Take a big breath in, coming into a standing back bend as you float the hands overhead. Exhale to fold forward, maybe bending the knees while you still hold, and then step back the right leg and then the left, coming into plank. Bend your knees, relax your feet. We're going to chaturanga down onto the belly, bending through the elbows, hugging the neck towards center, pleating up into a small cobra, keeping your bottom rib connected to the mat, maybe transitioning into an up dog, pressing onto the palms and the tops of your feet, then pushing into a down dog, maybe giving the legs a little pedal on the first round. Start to open up the back chain of the leg. Then step up the right leg, step up the left. Ragdoll, peel back up to your start position, hands to heart center. Big breath in, take your back bend. Exhale to fold forward. Step back your left leg, and then your right, find plank. Bend your knees, chaturanga down to your belly. Lead straight into a cobra, keeping those elbows tucked in. Morph it to an up dog. Transition to a walking down dog. Starting to wake up the arms, the legs, the whole body. Step up the left leg and then the right. Ragdoll, peel up, hands to heart center. Big breath in, take your back bend. Exhale, fold forward. Every time you fold forward, try to get more stretch up the back chain of your legs. Step back right and then left. Hold your plank. Then bend the knees. Chaturanga down. Find cobra. Bleed into up dog. Transition into down dog. Maybe looking to hold the legs this time. Step up right and then left. Ragdoll up. Hands to heart center. Big breath in. Take your back bend. Exhale to fold forward. Step back left and then right. Pause in your plank. Bend the knees. Chaturanga down. Find cobra. Bleed into up dog. Transition into down dog and pause. Hold the stretch. Step up left and then right. Ragdoll up. Last round of sun salutation. Doing one on each side. Big breath in. Take your back bend. Exhale to fold forward. Maybe hopping back into plank this time if you can. Doing a full chaturanga or using your knees if you need to. Come straight into your up dog and then find your down dog. Step or hop up to the top of your mat. Bleed up, hands to heart center. Big breath in, find your back bend. Exhale to fold it forward. Step or hop back into plank. Chaturanga down using knees or no knees. Find up dog. Bleed into your down dog. Step or hop to the front of your mat. Bleed back up to your start position, hands to heart center. We'll begin with our primary sequencing now. Maybe floating the hands out in front of you, making a fisted line with your hands, and then floating those fisted hands overhead so that you look like a tall steeple frame And then give me one really slow palm tree sway to each side, keeping that fisted hand so your knuckles are looking towards the sky. Then fold forward into a tabletop line, trying to keep your ears framed on either side with your fisted knuckles looking to the wall in front of you. We're going to keep the fisted line and we're going to step back into a warrior one on the right. So soften the knees, step back with the left leg, angling in your back foot slightly at 45, keeping those fists, knuckles looking towards the sky, bending your lead leg. Both hips are looking towards the front of your mat. Then reach long with your right fingertips for the sky and drop the left hand to your back leg, giving me a reverse warrior one. Starting to look for a slight arch in the spine, opening up generously through the chest and looking up towards the sky. We're going to find triangle from here. Straighten up the lead leg. Start to hinge forward, placing the lead arm on the inseam of the lead leg and opening up your other arm into T. Maybe you're just pushing and resisting. Maybe you're grounding your fingertips or your palm. Keep drawing up the energy along the quads of both legs. So think of pulling up knees to navel. We're going to reverse our triangle. So keep both legs straight this time as you start to drop the back or the top hand to your back leg and take the top arm up to the sky. Looking once more for that slight arch in the spine. Start to softly bend your lead leg. Step back up to the top of your mat. Find your fisted line. Float both your fisted hands overhead and take your slow palm tree sway off center, one to each side. Come into your tabletop fold, framing your ears on either side, keeping those fisted knuckles looking to the wall in front of you and getting an awesome stretch of the back chain of your legs. As you bleed back up, you're going to find your warrior one on side two. So you're going to step the right leg back, angling in the back foot at 45. Maybe your pelvis is a little bit warmer this round and you can find a little bit more drop down through the pelvis. Reach with your left fingertips for the sky and relax your right hand to the leg behind you. Maybe looking for more arch through the spine as you think chin to sky. Then straighten up both legs. Begin to hinge forward as you set up a triangle line, placing the lead arm on the inseam of the lead leg and opening up the other arm into T. Looking for a nice long stretch through the body. Keep anchoring through that back foot. Keep the ankle in at 45. And make sure that you're drawing up the energy along both quads. Then reverse your triangle. So keep both legs straight as you start to bring your trunk back up, dropping the top hand to the leg behind you and taking the other arm up towards the sky. Looking for that slight arch through the spine. Keep drawing up the energy along the quads. Then soften your lead leg, take a little step up towards the top of the mat, finding your fisted line with the hands. Float your fisted hands overhead. Find your palm tree sway. Nice little stretch at the side of the body. Then fold it forward into your tabletop line, keeping your fists looking and reaching long for the wall in front of you. We're going to find our way into a warrior two from here. So as you start to straighten up, take a big lunge step back on the left. This time opening up the back foot to 90 and opening up your arms into a soft T-line frame with your palms looking down. Make sure those arms are nice and parallel, that you're reaching long through both sets of fingertips and maybe opening up and dropping down a little bit lower through the legs. Find Virabhadrasana 2, look for strength. Look for vigor. Then float the hands behind you, looking for a fisted line behind you and reach long through your knuckles, drawing the two shoulder blades as close together as you can and opening up generously through the chest. Maybe arching your warrior slightly as you drop those knuckles down to look towards the floor. Then see if you can come into humble warrior, taking a little bow and keeping those fisted hands behind you. We're going to step up from here into a fisted tree. So as you come up, transfer the weight from the back leg to the front leg, maybe giving a little stutter, and then finding a small tree. We'll keep it below the knee line today, keeping those fisted hands and those knuckles looking towards the wall behind you. Then stand up nice and tall. Find the fisted line in front of you this time. Take your hands overhead and give me a slow palm tree sway to each side, keeping those knuckles looking for the sky. Hinge forward, find your tabletop fold. When you're ready, you're going to open up into warrior two on the second side. So now the right leg stepping back, reaching long through both sets of fingertips. Maybe opening up a little bit more through the pelvis. Check that that back foot is open at 90. Then float your hands behind you. Really bring the two palms as close together as you can. Open generously through the chest as you bring the two shoulders as close together as you can. And then take a bow. Keeping those fisted hands behind you as you drop the head to the inside of the lead leg. Then think about how you're going to find your way into tree from here. So begin to transfer the weight as you come up. Maybe you want to use a little stutter with the foot on the mat behind you if you need to. And then set up your tree line. Keep it small. So whole sole of the foot below the knee line on the left. Then unclasp your hands, place them at your side as you find your modified size seaty. Find your fisted line in front again. Begin to float your fists overhead. Find your palm tree sway to each side. And then fold it forward, keeping your arms framing your ears on either side. We're going to step back from here into a side angle directly. So as you start to peel up, bend the right leg, step the left leg back, place the right hand on the inseam or on the thigh of the lead leg and open up into T. Some play options here. Either stay here in your side angle or drop down even lower. See if you can come to a bind by relaxing your bottom hand, tucking it between the two legs, bringing both hands behind your back, and then bringing the fingertips into a little bear grip behind your back. Stay here or come into a little balancing bird of paradise challenge by heel to toe walking the back leg in, stopping when that back leg stacks underneath your hip. Transfer the weight from the front leg to the back leg, maybe using your big toe to find your balance, and then see if you can peel up slowly, don't rush it, and then see if you can either stay here or maybe you'd like to extend that leg. Wherever you are, you're going to take a step to the front of the mat. You're going to fist your hands in front of you, start to float them overhead. Take a palm tree sway to each side. And then fold it forward, looking for that delicious stretch up the back chain of your legs. When you're ready, you're going to step back with the right leg, and you're going to find your side angle. Preferably left hand connected palm down to the floor, right on the inseam of the leg, so you're almost using that arm as a splint. Stay here or bind between the legs. Dropping down generously through the pelvis. Stay here or prepare for bird of paradise by beginning to walk the back leg in. Don't rush it. Stop when you're stacking underneath the hips. Transfer the weight. Peel up when you're ready. Find your balance first. If it's good, see if you can extend that leg, keeping the bind between the two legs. And then wherever you are, you're going to take a step to the front of the mat. You're going to set up your legs in parallel. Fist your hands in front. Begin to gently float them overhead. Take your palm tree, sway to each side. Give me a forward fold. Pausing here. Framing your ears and keeping your gaze down on the mat, we're going to find our way into a low lunge from here. Maybe soften the knees, place both hands on the floor, and then take a small lunge step back with your left leg. Relax the back knee, but try to keep the toes tucked under for me. Check your setup on the lead leg. Make sure you've got knee over ankle and that you don't have knee over toe. Yeah? So you want to protect that ankle joint. You're going to just start your first low lunge with both hands on the floor and just try to make your whole pelvic region nice and heavy to the floor, but keep your belly button pulled into center. Give yourself a few moments here. Keep those back toes under so that you're working the whole sole of that back foot. And then begin to walk your hands back. Start to straighten up the lead leg, but try to keep all 5 toes on the mat and just stretch into the ankle and the top of your foot. You can give me maybe a hollow belly and a rounded back. So a cat-like stretch. Then ease your way back into your low lunge, maybe opening up into a cactus line through the arms with your elbows more or less in line with your shoulders. Try to squeeze the 2 shoulder blades together as if you were cracking a walnut and then hold that open frame. Then think scarecrow. Start to drop your fingertips down. Come back into your hamstring stretch. Maybe this time bringing your bum closer towards your heels, but not quite sitting down. You're going to extend the front leg and you're going to think toes to sky this time, trying to open up that tight knot behind your knee. Find your balance. If this is too much, just place your fingertips on the mat. Come back to your low lunge, this time floating the hands behind you, maybe thinking Titanic or finding a fisted line. Bring those 2 shoulder blades as close together as you can. Work those knuckles. So think of pushing up with your fist and allowing your knuckles to sort of reach for the back of your mat. You're going to keep your fisted line as you come into your hamstring stretch, Hanumanasana. This time you're going to try to sit back, bum to heel, and you're going to try to keep your balance by thinking of drawing up the energy along the inseam of your legs and then pulling up an imaginary zip from your pubic bone towards your navel. Then lunge step forward, keep the fisted line and see if you can come into a forward fold, keeping the hands fisted behind your back. You might start to feel a little tingly sensation in the arms because you've been holding the fisted line for a while. Then unbind your hands, drape them to the floor and take a little ragdoll sway side to side. Then peel up ragdoll style. When you're standing, find your fisted line in front of you. Float your hands overhead and take a palm tree sway to each side, knuckles to sky. Looking for that nice stretch in the trunk and in the belly. Fold it forward, framing your ears. Weight equal on the balls and the heels of your feet. Then start to soften the knees. This time lunge step back on the right. Keep the toes tucked under as you relax the back knee to the floor. Just stay here checking your form. So knee over ankle, hands softly pressing on the floor, leaning forward so that you can feel a little bit of a stretch on the inside of that back hip. Then start to walk your hands back. Think of when your bum stacks over your back knee. Stop there and extend the front leg. Look for that nice stretch into the ankle and the top of your feet. Try to grip the mat with all 5 toes and really press into them so you're feeling the stretch into each little digit. Come back into your low lunge and open up into cactus. Squeeze those 2 shoulder blades together. So think of cracking that walnut Two shoulder blades nice and close. Open up generously through your chest. Breathe. Keep those elbows at about shoulder height. Then think scarecrow. So start to drop the hands down as you come back into your hamstring stretch. This time dropping just shy of your back heel and extending the front leg, toes to sky. Trying to keep your balance by thinking of pulling up an imaginary zip from the inside of the knee on both legs along the inseam of your leg, and then from your pubis to your belly button. Come back into your low lunge, this time reaching the arms behind you and seeing if you can fist the hands. Then think fist to sky, starting to get a bit more of a stretch through the shoulder girdle. See if you can hold that fisted line and come back into your hamstring stretch. This time you're going to try to sit back, bum to heel. Just give a soft forward fold. Working an awesome toe breaker stretch on that back foot. Make sure all 5 toes on that back foot are actually connected to the mat and that you're stretching the back of each toe. Keep the fisted line as you lunge forward again and then step forward, coming into a forward fold. Really try to have the weight bearing equal on the front and the back of your feet. Then unbind the hands and do a little sway side to side. Ragdoll style. Allow that tingly sensation in the arms to just dissipate. And then peel up, ragdoll style. Restack, realign. Float your hands out in front. Find your fisted line. Big breath in. One palm tree, fisted palm tree sway to each side. Looking for that stretch in the trunk and the belly. Fold it forward, keeping the tabletop line, framing your ears on either side. Then soften through the knees, place your hands on the mat, take a high lunge step back with the left leg. Settle into your lunge and hold. If this feels good, start to see if you can bring your fingertips off the mat, but check your leg line first. So watch that you're not leaning the weight forward. Push back into the back heel so that you can feel you almost drawing up from the inseam of both knees along the inner thighs to keep your balance, and see if you can bring your hands to prayer in front. Keep pushing back into that back heel. Push actively into your hands, and now your elbows to track wide so your arms are working, your shoulders and your upper back are working. Stay here or take a twist towards your lead leg, tapping or hooking the left elbow to the outside of your lead knee. Bring your hands back to prayer and see if you can lunge forward and come straight into a chair, sitting the weight into your bum and your heels as you press softly into the hands. Then fold it forward, trying to place your hands on the mat or maybe hands on the shins and just hold the fold. Maybe rocking the weight forwards and backwards in the feet. Looking for your midway point and then maybe coming into gorilla by tucking your hands palms up underneath your feet and playing with that rock again into the front and the back of your feet while keeping your belly button softly pulled into center. And gently feed the hands up one at a time. Soften your knees and peel back up to your nice tall stance. Stacking your whole body beautifully before floating your hands out in front to find your fist. Take it overhead. Find your palm tree sway. Knuckles to sky. Come down into a table fold, framing your ears on either side, looking for that weight bearing in your feet. Then start to soften the knees, place your hands on the floor. Step back with the right leg, this time into a high lunge. Check that you're not leaning forward. So activate your back heel, activate the inseam of both legs, and when you find your balance, see if you can breathe off. And if you need to, you can push off that lead thigh first to just find your balance. And then when it feels like your frame is stable, see if you can bring your hands to active prayer in front of your heart. Keep that back leg active. See if you can take a little twist to the outside of the lead leg. And then as you untwist your trunk, you're going to find your way into chair. Taking a little step up, sitting back. So think bum to heel. So you're really trying to work those glutes. You're trying to work those quads. And then gently, gently fold it forward, hands to floor. See if you can make your crown nice and heavy. Think of the weight distribution in your feet. You're going to feel a nice little bit of a rush of blood to the head. Then see if you can transition from your forward fold, Uttanasana, into Adhastasana, gorilla, by tucking your hands, palms up, underneath your feet. Look for more stretch up the back chain of the legs as you slowly rock the weight back and forth. You're going to feel a delicious opening into the calves, the Achilles, into the back of the knees, feeding from the hamstrings into the glutes. Feed your hands up. Soften your knees as you peel up into a standing frame. Restack, realign your whole body. Look for that stack first before you float your fisted hands out in front. Take them overhead. Knuckles to sky as you palm tree to each side. And then come down in table, framing your ears on either side and just holding, looking for stillness here. Bend the knees if you need to as you come once more into your forward fold. Hands on the floor, try to place them more or less underneath your shoulders. And then step back into a plank line and hold steady. Whole body line nice and parallel to the mat. You're working arms, shoulders, core, legs. Stay here in plank or find your way into a side plank on the right by flipping your feet to the right, knife edging them. See how this feels as you open up the arms into T. Feel good. See if you can stack the top leg on top of the bottom. Still feel good. Open up into star. Or maybe come into sage by bending the top leg, taking your middle index finger and thumb, taking a little big toe lock, and coming into full sage, Vasipasana. Ease your way back into your plank line. Think down dog, maybe sliding the feet surreptitiously closer so that you can get more anchoring through the back chain of your legs. Pause here in your down dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Look for that weight in your heels. Look for that opening up on the back chain of the legs. Look for the delicious stretch of the front chain of your body. We're going to set ourselves up into a pigeon line from here. So start to soften the right knee. Maybe bring it forward. Keep it in line with your hip. And then rotate the foot in, either in line with your ankle or maybe closer to your perineum. Relax the lead leg, then the back, knee, shin, and foot. Start to slide, walk, creep your back leg away. We're coming into a high pigeon today. And I really want you to try to use your knees, the inseam of your legs and your core to find your balance. So wiggle around and then think of what's happening between the shoulders, what's happening between the hips. Try to keep yourself as even as you can on both sides. Start to activate the inseam of both legs and see if you can maybe bend that back leg, bringing the foot up off the floor. Walk back, see if you can reach for that foot. Maybe hooking around from the outside if you can. And if your balance is off, just take a block or a pillow and place it underneath your bottom on the right. Then see if you can bring your other hand off the mat, maybe making a little basket with your hands, and then actively pushing the foot, the front of your foot, and maybe your ankle into that basket. So you're pushing away with your foot, and your body weight is leaning forward. So there's a little bit of opposition in the stretch as you find your way into king pigeon. Then unbind your hands. Find your way from here into child pose. Maybe hands on the floor, sliding your lead leg back, big toes together, knees open nice and wide. Take an extended stretch first. So actively pushing off your hands, sinking your bum back, trying to maybe tap your heels with your bum. And then maybe giving the arms a little bit of a breather by floating them alongside the body and just allowing them to rest like two limp noodles alongside your body. We're going to find our way to the top end of the mat one last time. Think of coming into 4-point kneeling. Square up through your feet so legs are back in parallel. We're going to find a relaxed down dog. So maybe come onto the tips of your fingers. Do some work on your fingertips and your wrists. Tuck your toes under. Start to float your knees up off the floor. Push back into your bum and pause here. So you're coiled like a little string. You're going to take a bunny hop forward. You're going to ragdoll up. Stacking your body beautifully. Floating both hands in front. Find your fisted line. Float your fisted hands overhead and take a palm tree sway to each side. Looking for that delicious stretch through the trunk. Then fold it forward one last time in table, framing your ears on either side. Pause here, look for that stretch. Start to fold forward, placing your hands on the mat. Really make that crown heavy to the floor. Try to even out the weight balance in your feet. Check that your hands are staking underneath your shoulders. We're going to step back from here into a plank, one leg at a time, and then hold firm. Watch that you're not collapsing through the shoulders. Keep your body line nice and parallel to the mat. Use your arms, use your chest, use your back, use your legs, use your feet. All right, we're going to find side plank from here. So when you're ready, you're going to flip left, light edge in your feet, opening up the top arm. And if this is too much for you, just bend the bottom leg and extend the top. This still feels good. Stack your legs one on top of the other. Maybe open up the top leg into a little starfish, or maybe bend the top leg. Reach for the big toe. Take a little Padangusthasana lock and open up into full sage. Find your way back into your plank. Look for that strength. Pause. You're in control. Work with vigor, work with strength, work with power. All right, we're going to set up our pigeon line. So think of bringing the left knee in. Keep it in line with your hip. Start to rotate the ankle of the leg. Find the angle that works for you. Relax the lead leg. Relax the back leg. Slide, walk, or creep your back leg away. Wiggle around. Are you even through the shoulders? Are you even through the hips? If you need to, place a prop underneath your bottom on the left. All right, let's start to bend the extended back leg. Maybe reaching back with the hand on the same side and trying to wrap around the outside of the ankle joints. That feels good. See if you can bring the other arm off the floor. Maybe interlacing the hands, making a little basket, and then slipping your ankle or your foot into that basket. And then pushing back with your ankle or your foot and leaning your body weight forward so that you're getting an amazing stretch into the quad on the back leg. You're going to feel the hip flexor, you're going to feel the belly, you're going to feel the chest, the pecs, the shoulders, the arms. Awesome little king pigeon stretch. And when you're ready, unbind. Lead your way into child pose balasana. Big toes together, knees open, nice and wide. Take an extended stretch first. Think of relaxing your forehead to the mat, really pushing through the heels of your hands, then the whole palm, then each little finger. Push your bum back. Make your bum bones heavy to your heels. Make sure that you've opened up your knees slightly so that you've got space to breathe. Then swim the arms alongside the body. Just make them limp like two noodles. And give yourself a couple of recovery breaths here, breathing nice and deeply into the back and the sides of your ribs as you chill out for a moment or two in Balasana, child pose. When you're ready to end off your practice today, you're going to find your way into a seat of your choice. Maybe just coming into Thunderbolt, so knees together, feet together and sitting back. Maybe you'd like to relax your hands onto the top of your thighs, or maybe you'd like to come to a mudra. Maybe we can do active gyun by forming a little O frame between your index finger and your thumb and splaying the other three fingers open to the sky, symbolizing active participation. All right, we're going to end with a little bit of breath work. Let's bring it to hissing breath, Satkari. So you're going to be inhaling through your mouth and exhaling through your nose. You're going to make an audible sound on the inhale and almost no sound on the exhale. So for the inhale, think of gnashing your teeth together, pursing the lips softly together, and trying to suck through air through the little gaps between your lips and your teeth so that you make a slight hissing sound, something like this. Almost the sound that you make when you cut yourself and you go, that's the sound you want to make. All right, little hissing sound as you draw the air in. And then close your mouth and exhale silently through your nose. You're going to give yourself at least 10 rounds in your own time. Maybe you'd like to just sit quietly with your spine tall and your eyes open, or maybe you'd like to close the eyes and take your focus inward. Keep that breathing pattern going for a few more rounds. Make sure you're keeping your spine nice and tall, your shoulder blades softly dropping away from your ears. Start to look for a sense of calm control after your vigorous practice. Make this your last round of Satkari, hissing breath. And then just inhale and exhale normally through both nostrils if you can, without making any audible sound. And bring your hands to an active prayer in front of your heart. So you're actively pressing into both palms. You're allowing your elbows to track wide. And I really want you to connect to that sense of energy, that sense of vibration that starts to happen between the two hands when you press actively. Start to imagine a little closed circuit of energy flowing from your hands clockwise like a never-ending daisy chain, flowing into the right arm, coursing through your whole body, and then circling back through your left hand to come back in and complete the cycle. Thank yourself for making time to come out and play, to come out and work. Namaste to you. Thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed. Till next time, keep it light.